Hello, my name is Camilla Polito.
And my name is Elizabeth Madrigal.
Today we will be discussing the positive aspects about zoos. A little bit about history. For zoos, it is an absolute confidence that for many species it is perfectly possible to keep them in zoos or wildlife park and for them to have a quality of life as high or higher than in the wild.
Movement of the animals may be restricted, but they will not suffer from the threat or stress of predators or the irritation and pain of parasites, illnesses, and injuries, which in the zoo it will be treated. They also won't suffer or die of drought or starvation, and indeed will get a varied and high quality diet with all the supplements required. And as you can see from these pictures that we have on the slide, they're all animals that are in the zoo. And if you see that they look like they're in good condition. And also it looks like they have enough food to eat that the zoo provides for them. And they all look like they're happy in their little spots. It doesn't seem like they seem to care that their space is restricted. In this next slide, I will be talking about how zoos can be educational to children and adults that want to learn about wildlife. Many people that live in the city do not have the opportunity to see all these animals since they live where there's no animals around them. Most of some animals from the zoos are animals that are like not seen in the United States, for example, lions and giraffes. They conducted a study at a zoo which shows like where they tracked visitors that enter a primate exhibit living links to Human Evolution Research Center in a zoo, and it was proved that people are more likely to stick around there if there's actually a researcher that is part of the zoo that knows about animals, and people will stick around to learn more about the animals, especially since they don't have to explain to their children about the animals, but an expert does. Another thing that zoos, their workers have done is that they actually travel to local schools and they talk about programs that the zoos have that people like can participate in, like volunteer at the zoo, and it actually helps them learn about the animals. And also they do presentation on animals that they have at the zoo, and they explain the behaviors of the animals and their feed and diet to children. So this is really helpful, especially since we need to know more about the outside of the world. Not only do children learn about wild animals, but also the veterinarians have the opportunity to learn from them as well. Because throughout the years, veterinarians were able to improve the husbandry, which means that the animals have a longer lifespan. The picture on the slide, you can see how they are looking at this tiger, and the caption says, "Zoo animals and other exotics often come to the veterinary medical teaching hospital for specialized treatment." And the specialized treatment actually helps these animals that some animals in the wild don't even get. So if you think about it, these animals are living a longer and healthier life. On this slide, you can see we have pictures of not just veterinarians, but it can be where they're like learning on examining animals. And there's actually where you can be a zoo veterinarian, which is a really cool job. You might not get as much pay as others, but if you love wildlife, then you'll actually love this job. The description of this job is zoo veterinarians oversee the care of wild and exotic animals in zoo and other wildlife related settings. They examine and diagnose and treat zoo animals, who are often under anesthesia, of course, for examination, and may perform surgery administer medication, devise rehabilitation plans, or recommended anesthesia. They help plan animal diets, contribute to animal environment design, and supervise the quarantine process of animals coming into the zoo. And also zoos talk with the zoo personals that are taking care of the animals, where they talk about the animals' health maintenance and how to prevent diseases in their environment where they're kept, like cleaning up everything that the animal leaves behind and sanitizing everything just to prevent diseases. This is an interesting job to you. I really recommend looking into it, as this is something that you won't that a general veterinarian would not see every day.
The animals that are kept in zoos have access to nutritious food, clean water, and veterinary care 24/7. This makes lifespan for these animals much longer. On the positive aspect, captive animals are protected from droughts, such as floods, fires, and also predators. They are fed regularly, and if injured or exposed to diseases, they receive medical attention. This care helps them live longer and have a better, healthy life. For example, sea lions can live to be around 30 years old in captivity, in contrast to an average of approximately 20 years in the wild. So in that case, for sea lions, being in the zoo is much better for them. In the wild, there are animals in which they have very little chance of surviving, especially those who are on the endangered list. As we know, these animals are being hunted down by poachers every day for their skin and other products, such as their bones as well. As a result, some of the animals would be better in zoos due to their mother abandoning them or their mother being killed by other predators. On the other hand, zoos help those animals that have a more difficult time surviving in the wild by themselves due to the pollution, the destruction of their habitats, high level of competition for food, other predation, diseases, and other unfortunate reasons. For example, as researchers had said, while people settled to the west, people would often shoot, poison, capture, and disturb the California condors, collecting their eggs and reduce the food supply of antelopes, elks, and other large animals. Eventually, this led to condors no longer surviving in most places, which in other words is where zoos come in handy to help the condors with surviving more and helping them have a better, suitable life. Conservation, safety and security for animals. Captive breeding programs help to preserve the small animals of some of those who have been left. This could help to prevent the extinction of some species. As a result, safety and security for animals provide a chance to learn about some animals, care for some animals, feed some animals, work with animals, and such as volunteering at the zoo to help out the community more. Research opportunities. Having large and exotic animals enclosures allows scientists and researchers to conduct studies on them to better help us understand the way they work. This could help to save even more animals. These establishments provide many benefits to animals that normally would have not received them, such as help out with the proper nutrition, medical care for injuries for species that may have not gotten them for themselves for some reason, getting supervised by zookeepers and staff who are willing to help them in the event of emergencies.
There are strict regulations on zoos for about their wildlife on how to take care of them. There is a primary federal law that is called the Animal Welfare Act, and it regulates licensing, housing, exhibiting, transporting, and carrying of captive wild animals. It was adopted by Congress to protect warm-blooded animals bred for commercial sale, used in research, transported commercially, or publicly exhibited, like tigers, lions, elephants, bears, and non-human primates. Even though this might not protect the cold-blooded animals, at least we know that the animals are protected and cared for. They're not just closed up and not fed, and they take care of them. As you can see in these pictures, the lion in the middle looks happy seeing the people take pictures of him. On the pictures on the sides you can see that the background of the tigers resembles the nature that they're used to, and the only difference that we know is that they're just restricted in one area, but some tigers might not even notice. Also, on another note, on the strict regulations, the government and various organizations have set extremely strict regulations on zoos. This includes regular checkups on the animals and rigid procedures for preceding new animals. And the last topic we are going to talk about is entertainment. Actually, a lot of people go to the zoo just for entertainment in the animal demonstrations. In these demonstrations, they show what the animal is capable of. For example, there are seals that actually like to roll over and clap just to receive an award. The good thing about animals learning these tricks, for example, the seal rolling over, is because it helps with animal care and it's a voluntary obeying command. For example, you can't roll over a 500-pound marine animal to ultrasound, so maybe asking it to roll over is a good way of not making the seal mad. And also learning tricks stimulates their brain. If you think about it, when a kid does puzzles and does riddles, it helps the kid think about it, and thinking just stimulates their brain and helps them grow as they develop problem solving skills. In these pictures, you can see how animals are doing tricks for the audience. In the top left corner, we have a seal jumping that it looks like for a ball. And this actually seems like it's good exercise for them. They may be in a restricted area, but all these tricks that they're doing helps their blood flow and keep in shape and like be healthy. At the top right corner, we have the dolphins. The dolphins look like they're in happy and they're like communicating with the trainer. And if the trainer was a rude person, I'm sure the animals wouldn't interact with him. At the bottom left, we have a woman with the parrot, and the parrot is seems pretty happy flapping his wings. And at the bottom right, we have a seal that is balancing a ball on its head. And all these animals just seem happy, and if they're happy, I'm happy.
So a good zoo will provide great care and protection to animals and their care. These are good things for the individual concerns. This concludes the end of our presentation.
I hope you see there is a positive side to the conservation of wildlife.
Thank you for your time.
Our last slide is the resources we use. If you want more information, you can always come back to these URLs and check out what we you can go check out the resources that we researched.